After weeks of protests, hundreds of people in Toronto are getting the chance to speak directly to those who can reform policing in our city. Today was the first of a series of virtual town halls hosted by the Toronto Police Services Board.
And this is your moment to be the leaders that we need you to be.
Passionate demands for change, one after another. Citizens, frontline social workers, Army veterans, and many others seized the opportunity to make their voices heard. And no surprise, there was one recurring message.
I believe that the Toronto Police Services should be systematically defunded and eventually abolished in its current state.
You've all just increased the police budget by $50 million while we've been chanting to defund the police. Will this meeting actually change anything? Are you finally listening?
No justice! No peace! No justice!
The town hall comes after weeks of pressure in the form of protests sparked by the death of Regis Korchinski-Paquette. Back in May, the 29-year-old fell to her death from her high-rise apartment while multiple officers were alone with her in the unit.
No justice! No peace! No justice!
Then anger following the verdict in the Theriault brothers' trial. The off-duty Toronto cop and his brother found not guilty of aggravated assault after beating Devontae Miller so badly he lost an eye. Calls to defund the police have grown louder in recent weeks. The Toronto police budget currently sits at $1.1 billion, but a motion put forward at City Council to reduce it by 10% was recently voted down.
He and many others have also claimed that they are not able to support quote-unquote arbitrary cuts. So I just want to ask, why is it that city councils were able to cut, for instance, $150 million from the LAPD, $1 billion has been pledged to be cut from the NYPD, $23 million from San Francisco, and even $11 million in our own country in Edmonton.
Instead, the board is moving forward on body-worn cameras, which will come at an estimated cost of $50 million over 10 years. Today, multiple deputants spoke out against the tool.
Even with the presence of police body cams, who will hold the police accountable?
Something that shocked Mayor Tory.
I've been very surprised by the fact there's been so much negative reaction to this, because one of the reasons that I supported it, beyond it being a mechanism to help with accountability, was because I thought there was a strong public support.
Other recurring demands included police not responding to mental health calls, legislative changes to allow more police accountability, investments in social services, including mental health services and housing, as well as better recruitment and improved training. Now, after the meeting, Mayor Tory said in a statement, it is clear that people have deeply held concerns and are ready to share these stories in hopes of significant change in how we have done policing up to this point. I am supportive of making significant changes and ensuring that the Toronto Police Service address the needs of our city and its residents, and that we address police accountability, reform, and community safety. He added the town hall allowed for constructive dialogue. Now, there are 3 additional town halls scheduled over the next 2 weeks to accommodate the 300+ people who registered to speak. The next one will take place tomorrow at 9 a.m.